emotional abuse is defined as abusive behavior that is not physical. Here are 5 signs that you're experiencing emotional abuse. One of the first signs is that they are hypercritical of you and really judgmental of you. So in the end, you'll never be able to do anything right. And if you can't do anything right, you're going to be putting the blame on yourself and saying sorry a lot, which keeps them in control and in power, which is where they need to be. That's what meets their needs. It also helps them to keep you small and to wear you down over time so you don't go anywhere else. Sign number 2 is that they ignore your boundaries and invade your privacy. So say you're having an argument and you are just not able to show up for it that day and you want to continue it a little bit later, and they keep going and going and going, and they're not acknowledging you at all in that. And so that what they're telling you is that you're not important and I'm going to get my needs met at the cost of you. Sign number 3 is that they are possessive or controlling. So this can be over your finances, over your friends. Maybe they let you have friends, but you have to see all the friends together and you can never be alone. Because if you're alone, maybe you'll start to realize that you are a powerful being and you perhaps that relationship isn't serving you. There are many ways that people can control you if you let them. One can be around if you have children. They can use the children to manipulate you and make you do things so that their needs are being met. And it may not be to do with the children at all. Other ways of controlling might be to sabotage you, be to withdraw love from you, and giving you the silent treatment, just so you're sitting in a space of discomfort, and so once again they're in the control. Controlling behavior can be through money, seeing your family, creating problems in your family. They may also want you to continuously choose them in that space, which goes back to the earlier point of stepping over your boundaries and invading your privacy and your connection with other people. The 4th sign is that they manipulate you. Manipulation can be very, very subtle, and it can be done in a very lovely way. And so to know that you're being manipulated may not come out until you've ended a relationship. It's a really hard thing to see when manipulation has been revealed to you. It's someone that you maybe loved, someone that you were very close with, or maybe even a family member, and they may have an abandonment wound, for example, and so they don't want you to leave, so they'll do anything so you do not leave them. Manipulation can come through really nice behavior. That's why it can be so confusing. So they might have all these really good qualities and nurturing qualities, but then just turn every now and then. And so what I like to refer back to that as is the cycle of violence. The cycle of violence is when you start to walk on eggshells, you tiptoe around, you don't ask for your needs to be met. And then eventually it comes to a point where either you've had enough or you're saying no to some things, you're setting some boundaries, but they don't care. Their views, their perception, their needs have to be met before yours. The power has to be theirs. And then you end up feeling the blame, because through that manipulation and through going through the cycle of violence many, many times, you will learn to feel that it is your fault, because that's how they break you down. And the emotional abuse is happening in the mind, in the body, so it's not seen. Sign number 5 that I spoke to briefly before is that they will dismiss your feelings. Maybe not all the time, or maybe not at all at the beginning, but it may take a few years for this behavior to fully unravel. And the more you give into it, the more you blame yourself, the more you allow your feelings to be dismissed, then the more frequently it will happen. It's where someone will change their plans with you and other people when they're trying to control the situation, which can make you be in a state of anxiety, which means that they have the upper hand to keep control of the situation. They might plan a lot and just say, I'm so organized, look at what I've organized for us. And they may not give you a chance to check in whether you want to do that or not. And then if you don't play along, if you don't go, and then we start going around through that cycle of violence again, where you might be walking on eggshells, or then you go, but then you hold resentment and you're not able to speak it out loud, which then creates dis-ease and disharmony within your body. In these relationships, we end up saying, I'm sorry, really excessively, because in the end, we start to realize either it is all our fault We're really good people pleasers, so we blame ourselves a lot. All the behaviors pointing to us, and it gets very confusing. So in a way, we're trained in those relationships to blame ourselves and to say sorry a lot. These people are really secretive. They'll never let you know how they really feel. They'll never let you know the full plan. They'll always keep you guessing. They'll always keep you on your toes. You'll never know how they're really feeling underneath. If you're in a relationship and you're reluctant to call them out, you may be in the cycle of violence. Because if you call them out, it creates a fight. It creates days of not speaking to each other. It might create hostility or inappropriate behavior around family members, or it may upset the children. There are always ways in these relationships where we start to shut up and we stop using our voice, because in the end, it doesn't matter. It is like speaking to a brick wall. And if it's been long enough, we actually forget what our wants and needs are anyway. A really common thing in these kind of relationships, if you've been in one or you're recovering from one, is that you'll always see the good in that person. You'll keep reminding yourself that you love them and you're not going to leave, or that you married them, or that you have hope that it will be fixed and they will be happy in a few weeks' time. This is not your responsibility. And they may have good qualities. That's the confusing thing about it. But deep down, they're always going to have this behavior, especially if they have for many, many years, and they're not willing to do the inner work or to see how damaging this behavior is on people around them. If you have ever called out someone in a relationship where there is emotional abuse, you will notice that they brush off their own behavior. When they say things like, well, I only did that because you did this. So they always throw it back onto you. And they get very good at doing that. In emotional abuse, you will come across sarcasm when you're at a barbecue with people and there's a condescending comment underneath a joke. But you know that it's not a joke. And those things, those behaviors start to really chip away at you over time until there's an empty shell of you left. These people want you to become their puppets. Eventually, if you stay long enough in one of these relationships, you will lose confidence in yourself, in your ability to know what your wants and needs are. And it's really unfortunate, but people that stay for long periods of time in these behaviors, if they don't have the trait already, they will start to excuse the behavior of the person that they're relating with. They will excuse it because she's a good mother. They will excuse it because he's a great provider. There's always a reason where you start to excuse their behavior. And the more you excuse their behavior, the more you enable their behavior. And this is how the cycle of violence keeps going around and around and around. And it never truly breaks until you have clear knowing of the situation that you're in, you've been in, how far out of it you are, and how you don't carry these tendencies through to other relationships and into your life when you do finally get out. The aftermath of getting out can look like finding supportive people to be around you. It may be hard to lean into support because you've not known that before, and maybe you don't trust it fully because you trusted it before and look what it did. And if that person was capable of doing it to you, are you capable to do it to yourself again? So there's not only distrust in other people, there may be distrust within yourself. That's definitely what I have experienced, and I find a really helpful way is to move through my life now knowing that I am safe, that I am supported, and that I get to choose from myself leading. And the more that myself leads, the more that my heart leads, the more work I do to uncover what's in my body, the freer I get and the more liberated I get to what my past was, and to move further and further away from cycling in anything or allowing the resonance of this to even filtrate into my life. And so my last message for this video is that if you're going through this, there is definitely a way out. There is, on the other side of this, a beautiful life where you get to choose, where you get to know what you want and what you need, and you get to start again. And it's a beautiful journey. All that it requires of you is to begin. And to begin, it's making that one choice, small choices every day, to look, to feel, and to travel through it the best way you can, to lean into support to the right people. And so I have a book that I've written It's called Open, and it's on my website. You can buy it online, or if you're a local here, you can come to my book launch on the 21st of December at Perugian Beach. This book will help you to liberate yourself from within yourself. And so sometimes we can't expect people to heal with us. We can't expect this situation sometimes to change itself, although it's possible. But sometimes we have to choose from within over and over and over again. And this is what my book is about. It's a self-healing journey. It's a tool to guide you through that process of liberation. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Reach out if there was any questions around that, and I would love to hear your feedback.